putting you on the field for the best highlights at the Low Country's biggest high school games. Friday Night Lights.
All right, ready? Okay.
H-Y-P-E. Get hype with KB. H-Y-P-E. Get hype with KB.
It's time for the Friday Night Lights Tailgate Show with Kevin
Bilodeau.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday. It is after the holidays. I know everyone is like, why is Kevin popping up here? Football season is over. But when we have this much fun at the tailgate, as we do every year, every Friday during the season, we just couldn't give it up. So we are back every Friday now with the Live 5 tailgate. So let's get excited, everybody. What do you say? Ann McGill even broke out the pom-poms, so you know the tailgate is on. We are excited to go. We're going to talk some high school basketball, some college basketball, take a look back at what we had over the past couple of days and preview what we have coming up this weekend. Starting off with some highlights from this past week over at the Citadel. Things were tough for Western Carolina as the Citadel taking on Western earlier on this week. Start off early at A.J. Smith for the Bulldogs. Getting that bucket right there. Later, Winston Hill having a good night. He would lead the team with 19 points on the night. Didn't always work out too well for him, though. Western Carolina, I should say. Charles Lampton coming up big, the former College of Charleston star, getting the block right there. Had a big night for Western. 6 rebounds, including a couple of blocks. Then Trey Jackson for Western from the corner for 3. Western was up by 12 at the break. Second half, Bulldogs looking for a spark. Winston Hill turns and shoot. He would later exit the game with a leg injury, though, so tough break there. Ed Conroy would not have an update on his status later in that game as the Citadel dropping their SoCon opener to Western Carolina. Final in that one, despite 24 points, for the Bulldogs in their SoCon opener was 80-71. So the Citadel dropping their SoCon opener at home to Western Carolina earlier this week. Also Charleston Southern dropping their Big South opener as they took on Presbyterian at home. The Bucks falling to 4-10 on the season. They are 0-1 now in the Big South. So let's take a look at some other scores we had from this week, including Clemson, the 16th ranked team in the country. They went on the road, jumping back into ACC play on Wednesday and suffered their first conference loss of the season. They lose to Miami 95-82. They're back in action tomorrow. More on that in just a moment. The College of Charleston, they opened CAA play last night as they try to defend their conference championship from last season. This was an up and down game the entire night, but the college comes out on top. They come away with a 73-61 victory over Hofstra on the road. And Coastal Carolina picking up their first win since Cliff Ellis resigned as the head coach earlier this season. So first win for interim head coach Benny Moss. They win that one 71-63. So that's what went on this past week in college basketball here for teams in the Low Country. As for what's coming up this weekend, and it is a big weekend. We're going to start this Saturday where it's the first Saturday where all the teams going to be in action pretty much every Saturday going on ahead of time. And we start off with the College of Charleston. They are still on the road this week, looking to go 2-0 in the CAA. That one tips off at 6:30 as they visit Stony Brook. Maybe the game of the weekend in the entire country, though, is going to be up in Chapel Hill. Clemson, still the 16th ranked team in the country. They are facing number 9 North Carolina. That one tips off at noon. Talk about South Carolina a little bit. They have had an amazing season so far. Great start. They're going to go into SEC play coming up on Saturday, and a game you can see right here on Live 5 at noon as they take on Mississippi State. The Gamecocks at 11-1 so far this season. Now, the Citadel, they're looking to pick up their first SoCon win of the season in a battle of the Bulldogs coming up tomorrow at 1 o'clock over at McAllister Fieldhouse as the Citadel plays host to Sanford. Charleston Southern, they go on the road facing Longwood tomorrow afternoon at 3, and South Carolina State, they will play host to Norfolk State. Coastal Carolina also in action coming up on Saturday as they will take on Louisiana. So that's what's on top for college basketball. Still high school basketball coming up tonight on Friday, and it is a lot going on, including a huge matchup over at Fort Dorchester as the Patriots going to be taking on Somerville as they open up region play for that one. Take a look at the schedule. So just some of the big games that are coming up on Friday tonight. Like I said, Somerville taking on Fort Dorchester. Berkeley, who's gotten off to a really good start this season, they go on the road tonight to face off against Goose Creek. Wando opening up region play when they'll take on Cane Bay. West Ashley going over to James Island. Northwood Academy and Porter Gout facing off in Skeeza action. And First Baptist taking on Pinewood Prep as well. So those are just some of the games going on tonight. Also a big one tomorrow as Wando will be in action again, taking on Bishop England. So we're really in the thick of things for the high school basketball season now. Region play is starting. Amazingly, the playoffs are just about 5 weeks away. So we are getting to the point where seeding is going to start being on the line. We're going to start figuring out which teams are going to be home, have a couple of home games for the postseason as well. So a lot to still be decided. We had the Round Ball Classic here in North Charleston just last week, so a couple of local teams got to take part in that. And, it's really the time they get to see how their lineup is going to start looking and what they want to do going forward. So hopefully now most teams have things figured out what they want to do as they start region play tonight for most of them. So a lot of good stuff coming up in high school basketball as well as in college basketball. We're going to have highlights tonight at 11 o'clock right here on Live 5. So we're going to be over at Fort Dorchester. I'll be over at Goose Creek as well. Hopefully we're going to have someone at James Island as well to have all those highlights coming up tonight. And I know Summer Hector is going to be over at the Citadel tomorrow for the Bulldogs matchup against Sanford. She's also going to be over at Bishop England for that game against Wando. And we can't forget about the Stingrays either. Hockey season is in full swing as well. The Rays kicking off a 3 games in 3 nights weekend coming up tonight as they go over to Greenville to take on the Swamp Rabbits. Then they'll be home tomorrow night at 6 o'clock and again on Sunday at 3 o'clock. So the Rays looking to move up those Eastern Conference standings a little bit. So that's going to do it for the tailgate for this week. We're going to have much more coming up next Friday night, and Electric Bilodeau coming back on Wednesday. So we're going to have everything covered for you. But until then, everyone have a great weekend.